not necessarily represent the opinions of
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome everyone to a Sunday night special. Sunday night special. Why, you say, is it special tonight? Well, we have me, Francis, from Collision Course on air, talking about something that's going on in outer space, in the space outside our atmosphere. If you didn't know it, I know a lot of you already do. If you're listening on this special Sunday night show, we won't call it Collision Course tonight. We will call it Super Blood Wolf Moon of 2019. I can tell you right now, fresh update. There are a series of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times that are important during this full Super Blood Wolf Moon tonight. One we've already passed. Right now, it's 9:03 p.m. in Cypress, Texas, where I'm at. It's 10:03 p.m. in New York City. The first time to breach was 8:36:30 in Cyprus, or 9:36:30 in New York City. So at 9:36:30 in New York City, the leading edge of the moon touched the penumbra of Earth. The next touch will be U1. U1 is when the leading edge of the moon touches Earth's umbra at 9:33:54 Central Time, 10:33:54 in New York City. So we're about 30 minutes away from U1, where the moon's leading edge touches the umbra. You're probably telling yourself, "What umbra, penumbra? What is it? What am I looking at? What are these times, and why is it important to the eclipse?" Well, an eclipse is a series of touching points. And immediately we should talk about what we're talking about. Earth's umbra and penumbra equate to Earth's shadow. The penumbra is the lightest part of Earth's shadow, and the umbra is the part of the shadow where no sunlight reaches at all. Okay, I'm going to pause there, and you're going to have to bear with me because I have a couple of computers running, and it's not going to be just a smooth through show. I have a friend that I want to connect with and bring him on. Where are we? How can you see the show? The show is on the nightskiesnetwork.com. The show is on the nightskiesnetwork.com under Stargate-New Jersey, space Joe-New Jersey. That's Joseph Sardina. That's the owner of nightskiesnetwork.com. He's broadcasting our images from Cosmic Obsession Kerrville. Bob is at Cosmic Obsession Kerrville in the beautiful hill country of Central Texas, broadcasting from his telescopes. But due to a little bit of bandwidth issues, what he does is he creates a Skype call with Joe and others who are connecting and assisting in his broadcast, and Joe captures the feed and broadcasts it as Stargate New Jersey, Joe New Jersey, on nightskiesnetwork.com. You can go over there and see exactly where we're at, and it is darkening noticeably. And the darkening is occurring as you look at the image from the 9 o'clock to 9:30. It is occurring. The eclipse is occurring. I want to see 1 second now. Hold on. Jim, are you there? How are you? We are. Good evening, good evening. Question, are you enjoying the show? Yeah. Which broadcast are you under? Yes, perfect. And I'll tell you how that happens. Joe is the owner of nightskiesnetwork.com. He operates the website. And Cosmic Obsession Kerrville, which is our observatory in Kerrville, just happens to house Joe's telescopes because he lives in New Jersey, and you can be for sure that New Jersey has what? Lousy skies. And all right. And oh yeah, I've been there. I describe it as the beautiful hill country of Central Texas because that's exactly what it is. Texas is not entirely flat, everyone, as some people may think, and it's not running with oil off the edges. Nope. It has beautiful parts of it where the deer run freely. I've never seen deer run more freely than in parts of Central Texas. You wouldn't believe it if you've been there. You've seen the deer, huh, Jim? No. So no. No, I ride a bikes myself, so no, and I know exactly what you're talking about. But look where we're at. We are in eclipse. We are moving into eclipse right now. 7:33 here is your U1 then. Your U1 at 7:33:54 is when the leading edge of the moon touches Earth's umbra, which is that's funny you said that. Because as I step out my front door, and our house has high arches, they probably go up about maybe 12 or 13 feet, and it's maybe about 4 feet wide. As soon as I step out of my house, I look up, and it's perfectly framed by the arch of our house. So that, and I took a picture of it. I'll have that on my Facebook page because the moon, when I took the picture, is radiating these spikes. It's quite interesting. But to watch this eclipse occurring is really, really a treat. Um, well, of course, and uh, and you know what? I don't want to step away from that without leaving this tidbit behind because the whole thing that got them all hooked into my storyline was that I could go out and take a picture and bring it back and just bamboozle their whole story. But yeah, I've never been wrong. How can you beat that? I've never. Think of all the people who somehow got it wrong. Now, you know, in the same time period, that blossomed a lot of great researchers that have acquired an enormous amount of data and respect from the community, like myself. Suspicious observers started kicking around then. Even, and I'm not giving these people credibility one way or the other, but Dutch Sense and all these other folks, they continue on. Now, of course, I've mentioned to you what the situation was, but there was a period of time where it was easy for me to do it. And when it was easy for me, I was right there to take care of it. And then there was other times where it became less easy to do the task. so I had to step away from it. But the brain power is always there; it never turns off. And now that I'm more adjusted to the change that had to occur, and we have the new observatory up and running, and this observatory is I was digging a 5-foot hole, and it's all that effort that went into Cosmic Obsession 1 in Tomball has been able to add to the, I don't know, just it made this one so much better. It wasn't the first time, when the construction began and when the process was happening and when the ideas were brought up, having the first event occur, the first building, made this observatory just rocking. This observatory, and there's Bob and Deb will eventually be moving out there shortly because their home is going to be finished, and it's going to be equipped and running almost every clear sky night. And what more can you ask for from where we started? Where did we start? We started on itelescope.net, which for folks who don't know it, that's a wonderful, wonderful resource. Now, itelescope.net pays or costs a certain amount for you to rent their telescopes. It's reasonable. I've always felt that it was reasonable. Now, the more intense and in-depth you want to get with their telescopes and the amount of time that it takes for you to take your picture, then things can get, they can get expensive because, yes, observatory time is important. Everybody wants to get their eyes on the skies. But And with Comet Olenin, I was just dodging left and right, left and right. It only took me like 120 seconds, I don't know, like almost less than 2 minutes to get the images I needed. At that time, that equated to a couple of bucks for me to go out there and get some Comet Olenin pictures, which I had just so much fun doing. I could do it. And that was another fun thing was about that, because I was taking pictures from all around the world, and it was blowing people's minds. Okay, they knew. As God was their witness, I lived in Texas. And they just couldn't understand how I was taking pictures at 4 o'clock in the morning from Texas and getting Comet Olenin. You were just. But what was actually happening was I was setting up the telescope so that at 4 a.m. in Australia, it went out there and took the pictures. And people just got blown away by that. And that was fun. Oh. I can tell you. Go ahead. I was going to say, my brother built his first computer in 1986, an AMD processor. We would log into the University of Virginia, West Virginia's server, and that was the first internet for us. And we would... Yep. That's how old we are. Yes, I'm here. Well, yeah. Well, I mean, and and it's funny because they just recently they showed for some, I don't know what show or for what, Katie Couric back in the day, and I still remember it when it was right then in the day when she said, "Oh no, will somebody tell me what the internet is?" And that was like maybe 2.5 years after the internet actually approached. And when for her to say something like that, as soon as I heard it to myself, I said, "Well, you got to be pretty stupid to ask what the internet is, because by now it's 2 years old, and people are starting to create porn sites." No, before we even were introduced to one. I mean, our first introduction, I think, when we talk about it, people say, "Oh, you're so old, a calculator." No, my first introduction to technology was the briefcase-sized cellular phone. That would probably be where my when Moore's law met the common man. That's about right. And I might as well at the same time say rip to Mr. Moore because his theory's it's gone. His theory is gone now, and that's an inside joke for those technology fools like me and Jim, I guess. Moore's law. Moore's law is the exponential growth of technology as much as transistors in a microchip are doubled yearly. So your microchip has a certain amount of transistors which can process zeros and ones quickly. Back in the 60s, Moore's created a law that said technology was growing at such a rate that technology would double or each size, so they double their transistor size each size. And for a while that was true, but now we've come to quantum computers where particles can be yes, no, and maybe, and we have infinite integers, and Moore's law has gone to pot. We must put Moore's law to bed. Good night. See you later. Rest in peace. Because this is the day and age of quantum computers. Yes, no, and maybe. Do you know how to make up your mind? Yeah, of course. That's how. Well, you could see the same exponential growth in science and technology in Hollywood. You move from a horse to a spaceship pretty quickly. Okay. And this is where intergalactic travel meets the end of the universe. Okay. And here we go. I want to tell you why I say that, right? There must be a reason why I said that. This is where intergalactic travel meets the end of the universe. Now, when we talk about traveling from here to there, you think of travel. You think that you're actually going to go from here to there. But actually what's going to happen is somewhere in their massive particle accelerators, when they're smashing things, they're going to create a gravity, or they're going to discover a gravity particle, okay? And when they find a way that they can safely grow a gravity particle out in space somewhere, they're going to be able to create and bend time and space. So what you're actually going to do is you're going to go out to the gravity space port. You're going to get onto an area. They're going to expand their gravity source, and they're actually going to pull that place you want to go to you. You're not even going to travel anywhere. They're just going to sink the gravity onto the plane of time and space, and that place that you want to go is actually going to come to you, and then they're going to slowly release it, and then you're going to get to wherever you go. But the problem is, in the process of finding and building that gravity particle, you can succumb to the literal vacuum, the absolute vacuum occurrence, and the absolute vacuum occurrence will start consuming matter and mass, and that's very bad. So that's where intergalactic travel and the end of the universe come very close together, and everything in particle accelerating and the knowledge of quantum mechanics is really a fine edge of life and or extinction of the whole thing. Now, and I want people to recognize that we have one universe to mess with. Don't worry, there's plenty more. If this one's gone, there are going to be plenty more. When they're not going to know we were here, okay? Because Their physics is different. Their whole thing is different. We're just going to ruin our own, and we're going to say, okay, I guess Earth wasn't enough. In that article that was put out recently, that NASA has found some super Earth, perfect sphere, perfect orbit, perfect Earth, perfect atmosphere. And the title of the article, if I must say, it says, NASA finds a planet that makes Earth look like shit. So know that definitely Earthlings can make things look like shit, and hopefully it's not the whole universe. But I really believe that space travel is not going to be. I mean, right now it's travel because we're working our way through this propulsion and what have you. And since we're on this propulsion, I'm going to bring up something else that I've been really interested in, and it's occurring. Oumuamua. You know what Oumuamua is? The interstellar traveler, right? I bring this up because they've been trying to poo-poo Abraham Loeb's theories about the light sail. And I did a show with him. I interviewed him. I have a yes. Oh yes, and it's yeah. Yeah. Well, he's actually there's a project called Starshot, which actually is a light sail that they put out into space, and then they hit with radio waves to propel it. Right. So they wanted. Oh my God! It's 2012, 2014. But don't make me lie to you. Don't make me lie. Okay. So I'm not. I'm just going to throw that date out there, because that's how it feels. Not that I know. Yeah, so they did that with Starshot. So he's a perfect guy to come on and actually talk about Oumuamua and its relative physical parameters. Now, the parameters are what it is. Now, what he brought up, and again, wasn't brought up until I believe he actually brought it up in my show, but now they're starting to talk about it. Oumuamua's speed when it entered and exited our solar system. Okay, our solar system has a speed that it's spinning around the center of the galaxy. Okay, so it's moving. All right. So relative to Earth, if something comes into our solar system, it looks like it's moving through our solar system. Correct? Right? Well, imagine Oumuamua being a buoy in the ocean, and our solar system moved through the ocean where it was, because that's exactly what occurred. Okay, Oumuamua actually wasn't necessarily coming from anywhere more than it was positioned as we moved through it. Now it still has an orbital path that can be measured and look to where it came from, etc., etc. But for the object to have this speed, and it's a relative speed, there's a cluster of 11 or 12 stars that our sun is involved with, and they all move through the solar system at approximately the same speed. This object just moved through our solar system at the same speed as everything else, which is very, very, very odd. Okay. And so he brought this up in the interview on Collision Course, and I said, man, I said nobody ever talked about that, and it really sunk into me. And then all of a sudden, these articles start coming out, and they start describing again. This thing just is having. It has now a handful of oddities, okay, and I don't know, because you and I haven't talked too much, and I don't know if you heard. Now, Oumuamua is a Hawaiian name, right? And I'm going to set you up for this, okay? And you've read about it, and you have an interpretation of what people have told you what that name means, right? What is it? What to you? What does that name mean to you? Okay. What I'll say is, what popular science and academia has reported it to be, and I'm going to go online, and I'm actually going to search it so that I have this great example, because you're going to find this really trippy, okay? You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. So, okay. So I'm typing in Oumuamua name means, and I'm just doing it into Google. And I'm just going to see what it pops up here. Okay, so Oumuamua from Wikipedia. The name comes from Hawaiian, Oumuamua meaning scout, from O meaning reach out for, and Mua reduplicated for emphasis meaning first in advance of, and reflects the way this object is like a scout or messenger sent from the distant past to reach out to humanity. Okay? You feel that? You feel that sense? What does it feel? It feels kind of warm and fuzzy, right? Okay, so the scout or messenger sent from the distant past to reach out to humanity. That's us. Humans is us, humanity. Okay, there was a man, in Hawaii, there was, there's the royal family of Hawaii, right? Okay, and the royal family of Hawaii was around for a very long time before it all got state, before it is what it is today. The Hawaiian royal family was highly respected and very powerful in the Hawaiian Islands. That's what we'll say, okay? And they had their own indigenous language that was known to the Hawaiian people. And if anyone was to know what the Hawaiian language meant, the royal family would, correct? Okay, so back in the early 20th century, a man named Henry Parker Waits worked for the royal family of Hawaii, and he dictated a dictionary of translations of the language of Hawaiian. The name of the website is Ulukau, so I'm going to push that in my search. Ulukau. Ulukau. Ulukau, the Hawaiian Electronic Library. I just love it. Every time I pull it open, it's so obvious to me. Now, I also interviewed Dr. Karen Meach. She works at in Hawaii, the college in Hawaii, the university in Hawaii, and she was a part of. She's the first person that they called when they got the information. And here's something else. She originally told me that she got the information on October 16th. Okay. Well, the real story that's given now is that the information wasn't given until October 19th. And whether that's relevant or not, it kind of is, because some other information has come up about it. But on October 19th, they sent Karen Meach the information of this object. And she began the process of doing all that work that the initial primary investigators do. Okay, and that includes naming the object. When they initially named the object, they named it Rama. Now, Rama, I guess, has something to do with some Hollywood show that I really have no experience with. There's some movie, and Rama was a ship. Don't know. But then they changed it after conferring with a linguist and another anthropologist or somebody, and they came up with Oumuamua, Oumua, M-U-A. And I'm sorry I'm taking so long to get there. Okay. Yes. Yes. I'm seeing shadow right now. Our broadcast is shadow. Okay. Okay, so I've gotten to the place I want to... No, wait a second. Have I gotten there? Yep. Okay, so I wanted to come back. I wanted to come back to the weakened, the gentrified meaning. Okay, the gentrified meaning of Oumuamua is a reflection of the way this object is like a scout or messenger sent from the distant past as an outreach to humanity. Well, the Henry Parker Waits, working with the Hawaiian royal family. They have a different translation, and our translation is this: Oumuamua. Okay, and then in brackets it says Mua, M-U-A, comma, the front. Okay, and then below it has two explanations. One, period. The foremost. Oh, I'm sorry, I messed that up. The foremost soldier, or the front rank in battle. 2, a scout, one sent forward before the battle to discover the position of the enemy. Well, it just for me, it kind of smacks of deception a little bit. But, it smacks of deception because it's kind of so obvious that someone like me could go and find. And I believe, I mean, if they're dealing with a linguist from Hawaii, they obviously know the Henry Parker Waite's dictionary because it's very well known. And so just to throw that in there without thinking that someone's going to come up with this alternate meaning is kind of, flying in the face of dangers, tempting fate because fate is there to be tempted. Gosh. Make people like me, they make people, my blood pressure goes up when I read that kind of stuff. So I come back thinking that it's just too obvious to be fake. So, and I love it. And so we have Abraham Loeb. And so far I've interviewed Karen Meach, who first got the information. I've interviewed Abby Loeb, and who talked about the speed and the shape and how this thing could be. And then what we recently discovered is that we have two FRB repeaters. And you know what those are, huh? Fast radio burst, SETI, the search for yeah. Right. Well, what SETI is all about, SETI's listening. SETI is. I would do that. Legacy. SETI Legacy, yeah. I think it's bad. I think it's bad. I think it's bad. I think we're in trouble. I think we're weak. Did you have you ever seen have you ever seen X-Men? Have you ever seen X-Men? When Magneto, yeah, the guy came down and he used his power and all the nuclear warheads went out into space and all of a sudden all the powers didn't have power anymore. That's how I feel it's going to go. We could put it in their toothpaste. Right. Yes. Yeah. I would definitely think that the future is something that, is it's going to be all about science, and it's all going to be about scientific, and I'm happy that my son is doing what he's doing because he's going to need. I believe everyone's going to need a lot of competence in the near future in dealing with technology that they're going to be dealing with, and that's not even going to be science fiction. Well, it's going to be the singularity. When the artificial intelligence gets access to the internet, and basically every server and computer that's connected to the internet, and it's able to garnish all that information. Well, you know what AI is, right? This, and just quickly for folks who don't understand, AI is more than just a program that's getting smarter. the main thing about AI, and this is, we can have babies, okay? We can have babies, and we can pass our genes along. And we can hope that our babies that have our genes go to a good school and get smarter than we were. And then our babies with our genes will make a baby and go on and go on and go on. AI does something different, but does something technologically sort of the same. An AI program will be set to run a certain amount of time, and it'll learn a certain amount of knowledge. And rather than continuing to grow its database of knowledge, it takes everything that it's stored and it creates a new, free of all that data program that contains all the data that it's already learned. So it's like a computer that's growing up, but it's also recreating itself in a better image of what it was before. A computer will never be worse in its next progression than it was before. It'll only get better. And the problem is, as they get more information or connected to our internet, they could be repeating in microseconds, and that is mind-boggling. And when we talked about Moore's law earlier, and we put Moore's law to bed, this law that's going to be coming up in what they say approximately 2040s, when my son is 40, and he's going to be 21 this year. When he's 40, when he's in the middle of his hardest work ethic, when he should be working his hardest, knowing the most, having the most effect on society, it's going to be the same time that these cotton-picking computers are going to be popping open. And it's nothing to sneeze at. And I'm fortunate because there are some ways that I don't know if organizations can protect themselves, but there are ways that individuals can protect some of their technology from being infected by the AIDS. And I could go on and on and on, but 2042 is the suspected date of singularity when these AI programs will get into the internet and they'll start reproducing themselves, and they're just going to be a better version of what they were before. And it's incomprehensible because we can't even picture it, because our brain, we just get more books, we just have to consume more, but we can never wipe this slate clean and be born smart and go from there. And that's what computers are doing. Okay, we really yes. Yeah. Here's the quantum computers here. They're not at optimal efficiency due to temperature, but there are quantum computers available by Kindred. A company named Kindred is commercial quantum computers. Companies like Facebook, companies like Amazon, companies like Google, they rent time in these quantum computers that are housed by Kindred AI. There's also one, oh God, I got so many interesting things to say, because I connect. I connect Kindred Quantum Computing is a company, and that's quantum computers, and that is quantum computing, and that's going to be what quantum computing is. At the same time that I was learning about Kindred, I learned about a company called Unanimous AI. But Unanimous AI isn't technology. It's using swarm protocols. Okay, ants in a large group decide things as a large group. After much research, it's been found that ants working together make better decisions Same as bees. Bees work together. When they work together, they make better decisions. Well, unanimous AI is using the process of hive mentality to answer some of life's great questions, and it actually is working tremendously. And you should look it up. What they do is they just have their, like, the people that they work with. I don't know if they call them members or subjects or people that answer their surveys. And so people are answering surveys, and they're answering questions about the survey, and the answers are like high likelihood, medium likelihood, low likelihood, yes and no. So they have all these variations, and after, when they let all the answers run through, they're coming up with really great results as far as how well the answers are being answered. So there is, and unanimous AI believes that if there is any way that humans would have a chance against artificial intelligence, would be in the use of swarming them with mental capacity. But that'd be really hard to do, because that means you'd have to bring people together, and you and I both know right now is not the time people to come together. I've always felt that. Whenever I've had something good go on, a lot of times it comes from, I always said I'm using other people's brains. It wasn't that great because I just got through something that I needed to get through because this person helped me get through it. And I've literally said to myself, man, I just got to use his brain and made my life a lot easier. And I physically felt that way. I felt like I just used his intelligence to help me answer a question about whatever I was working on. And that's exactly what happened. So to say that you can't, what do they call it when you put batteries in series? You can put brains in series, right? I think series would probably work better than parallel, because parallel kind of sets you up for conflict. So we'll just put brains in series, just line them up. Do 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 do. Oh yeah, oh yeah. I'm that guy. I'm that guy. Yeah, yeah. I have two gold claims in Arizona. If you ever want to go out there, I really need to get out there. Yeah, no, yeah. There's two load claims. They're load claims, but they're in what's called the Little Harquahala Mountains, and they're situated in such a way that there's going to be placer there. I mean, but the old mine. Yeah, no, it's out there. When we can. And that's why I come back. That's why I come back. That's why my shows now are different. They're a little bit more learning, and they're a little bit more learning for me. And I look at them in a little bit different way because I'm not really out there waiting for something or someone to grasp onto. I already know. I'm pretty secure in who I am. So if someone wants to, yeah, and when people come, if they come, they should know already what they're going to get. And if there's this is the thing though. This is another thing. If something's going to happen, I'm going to tell you. Like I've always said, if something is going to happen, if there is something out there that's going to happen, you know what? I'm going to know. Because I've got it. I've got my ways. I've got my shows. I have my peoples. I have everything just like I wanted it to be 7 years ago, so that I would know when some fool came my way telling me some foolish thing that I would know before he knew what he was even talking about. And that's the point. That's the point, and that's what I hope that people get out of it too. And it's just ordinary guys. Because some shows are just shows. Still, there's still just a lot of entertainment going on, a lot of entertainment, and it's got a shithole. It's got a shithole planet. That's where everyone goes. Yeah, yeah. Shithole planet. That's where everybody goes. No, but I thought that the total article about the new Earth that they found was really it was just they cussed through the whole thing. I couldn't even say everything. I couldn't say poop enough times. I don't even know who wrote that article. I mean, they must have been literally taking a poop when they wrote it because that it was just shit filled with shit. And I'm just gonna make it. I'm gonna write this article, and it's gonna be clickbait. I could never write clickbait. By the time I even tried it. I tried it, and then I read the article at the end, and I found out that I had just written science fiction, like we were talking about earlier. I turned. Oh my God, yeah, some my Jetsons. Dun, 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 do, 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 do. Yes. Yeah, when robots look like the robot from War in the Worlds. Yeah. Yeah. 50. Yeah, I had a drone. I got a drone for Christmas a few years back, and I set it on the ground. It was kind of a breezy day. I said, "Oh, I got this. It's no problem." I sent it up into the sky, high in the sky, higher, and the wind got it, and then a tree got it, and that was the end of that present. Oh man, it wasn't it was one of those cheapo ones though, but it was fun. Right, right. Hmm. Man, I saw a remote controlled helicopter exhibition. It was crazy. Have you seen them? It's like I don't know the RPMs are like 20,000 or 30,000, and these people are moving at angles and speeds and upside down and mowing the lawn and doing all this stuff with crazy, crazy. Oh, but then also about 4 or 5 years ago, I read an article where a guy died because his helicopter caught him in the wrong place. No. All right, so we have to go back. Let's take a look at our eclipse. Our eclipse. Our, do refraction, reflection, planet Nibiru. Planet Nibiru. Funny. Well, our broadcast our broadcast is still showing a monotone color, so we're gonna have to wait. And I believe I remember because we've done a number of eclipses that it's like at the last minute it goes from this monochrome color and then it just falls into red. Oh, hey, now, hold on one second. There may be a break. There may be a top of the hour break. Let me just listen for 1 second. Let's stop talking. Yes, they're doing a break right now, so we are not gonna talk for the next couple minutes. I'll be right back with you. Can you put yourself on mute? Be right back. Okay, my friend, you there? We're coming back out on air for the Super Blood Wolf Moon of 2019. It is January 20th, still here in Cypress, Texas, 10:02. It's 11:02 p.m. in New York City. We moved through 10:41:17 is when the moon will be completely inside of the umbra. That's our next time limit. Looking at the moon right now on nightskiesnetwork.com at Stargate broadcast, on the Stargate broadcast, which is being broadcast from Cosmic Obsession Kerrville, you'll see that the moon is halfway covered by the shadow. I just took myself out my front door and saw it for myself and looked through my own telescope at it, and how it's viewed on Night Skies Network is a little bit different orientated than I'm seeing it here on ground level. On ground level, I'm seeing it more on the southern pole. Oops, our broadcast is just, we're getting a little color now. I see that Bob is working with his adjustments to pull out more color out of it. He's going to work with that, and like I said, when it just comes to a point where it goes from a pardon. Well, here's the problem: is there's 8 of them. So. Yeah, there's 8 of them, and it's Joe, it's the guy, it's Joe from the Night Skies Network, it's Chris Appleton, it's Mark Bahu, it's Don Julian, it's I definitely will. We can always do that right in the chat room over on the Night Skies Network too. Isn't it though? And and we can just put all the garbage that goes on and just put it behind us for the next few hours as we get to experience this. Because listen, as you lay me down to sleep, there's only so many of these things that we have underneath our belt. So taking time to enjoy them is a treat. And think there's people out there that don't even know above their head right now this event is occurring, and they're just walking worried or upset or depressed, and I wish that wasn't that way for them. And maybe somehow as I say this, I'm going to send to them a reason to look up, and for them to say, wow, that wasn't the way it was earlier tonight, and maybe they'll get some knowledge from that. Yeah, I'm working my fingers here as you're talking. I'm in the chat room on Revolution Radio, uh, making making sure that they look out up at the moon and or go to the nice guys network.com, and then of course to come to Studio B because we're here talking, and it's everything. It's just a busy night. It's going to be a little bit of a late night. Mrs. maybe doesn't care for the late night, but oh well, nothing you can do about it. Mhm. Yes. And when and then when in reality, it's actually usually me giving her a hard time about being up late. So okay, listen. Since this is a blood moon eclipse show, maybe I should go out there and grab a little blood moon information. And as I do this, I'm tempting fate, right? Can you tell us what you have there? Let's go. Let's start with this. Um, um, which chat room is it? Okay, thank you. That grabs me fine. Yeah, let me. Uh, I just this one. Okay, so that's everything we need to know. Basically, what we're doing, everyone, is we're trying to get some, being the eclipse show, we want to leave some information behind about what makes this a blood moon, what makes it a super moon. Um, I could just run through it quickly. What sets this all up? Um, the moon. The moon we know is there every day, every night, and it orbits the Earth. The moon orbits the Earth in a non-perfect circle, creating a situation where the moon at sometimes is closer to Earth and sometimes farther away. We call that apogee when it's closest and perigee when it's farthest, I believe. Is that right? I hope that's right. Um, Apogee is closest. Okay, so right now, when the moon is closest to Earth, or an apogee, as it is tonight, it's called a super moon when it is full. When you have a full moon in apogee, it's a super full moon. January contains a wolf moon. This moon is a super wolf moon. January, this month, contains a lunar eclipse, which occurs this evening. It's happening right now. So you add that all together, is you have a super blood wolf moon, and that's where you get it. The earth and the moon are closest together. The moon is full, and right now the earth is passing in between the moon and the sun, casting its shadow over the surface of the moon. That is an explanation of where we're at. Blood moons have some relevance in history. Blood moons have been used in the past by others as forebearers of upcoming events. There was recently in 2014 and 2015 a series of 4 blood moons that occurred April, September, which was called a tetrad of blood moons. This tetrad of blood moons was picked up by Charles Hagee, I think it is. And Charles Hagee foretold that after this tetrad of blood moons, there would be something biblical that would occur. I can tell you through research that tetrads of blood moons have occurred 61 times over a period of some 2,500 years. Nothing has occurred after a tetrad of blood moons. But what's important to note is that prophecies have begun to occur or been foretold by the appearance of tetrads ever since, I think it was 25 AD. So think of that. These events are celestial events which are important to humanity for their occurrence and should not always be messed with prophetically, because it's been consistently proven to be unreliable as a prophetic option. Does that sound reasonable? Of course it does. And what I mean is, though it's easy to take a celestial event, okay, I'm looking at the eclipse right now. We're getting to the point where when you visualize the eclipse through a telescope or through a camera, it's almost half and half light and half dark, which creates a scenario where the light size starts to get over exposed. And so we're right there at this moment where it's hard for a camera, DSLR, telescope, or otherwise to really get a distinction, clear image, because we're breaking this barrier of half dark and half light. The moon will slip. It's slipping into its color now as we're getting there, but a little bit overexposed due to, and we could be having some high cirrus clouds too. So we could be having a couple of variances of scenarios that are going on. But I can tell you that it's going to be slipping into the complete umbra. What's our timeline? U2 is 10:41. We're at 10:15 p.m. We're about 16 minutes away before it's going to be into the umbra, a half an hour away from complete eclipse at 11:12. I can tell you this special Sunday event, Super Blood Wolf Moon event, is going to end at the top of the hour, which is midnight, New York City. That is going to leave you 12 minutes before complete eclipse. I'll be ending. Yeah. 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 Yeah, yeah. It's a little bit. The orientation is definitely different from the broadcast to what I saw when I actually went out there. So what you're talking about now is now the southern pole of the moon is starting to redden up. Okay, and like as we see it in the broadcast, we have an exposure, because it's I've seen it happen before on broadcast. It's just like once it gets to a point and that overexposure goes away, you'll be right back into a perfect image. Jim's getting the bird's eye view out his window. I'm upstairs in my studio. I did go down during the break, and of course I went and got my own view. I'm recording the broadcast from Nice Guys Network. For the last hour 17 I've been recording, so I have that covered. I have a special Sunday night eclipse show covered. I have my good friend Jim on the air. We've been having a great conversation. That's covered. I think Jim left me another link, and I need to go grab that because Skype says you have another link, and I'm going to go click on that. And I went into, there was one, and then I went into the Night Skies Network, and I wanted to put it in there too. I've been telling them in the chat room. I've been telling them where we are. And where they can find us, and then there's that one. Well, yeah, the intelligent ones. Right, free speech is not free, everybody. For as much as you want to believe it, free speech is not free. And stations like Revolution Radio, they are free speech, and they're on the forefront as free speech. They don't take no grump from anybody. If you have a show and you're relevant and you want to get on and have your speech heard, then this is the place. And if you're a listener, you can find a donate button. There are resource pages here where you can support this great channel, Revolution Radio, and the folks who operate it and produce the shows, and then all the hosts. And then they have an archives page, which is really affordable to go in there. And once you get into the archives page, you literally have at your fingertips libraries and libraries of shows that you can get yourself involved in. And if there's a rabbit hole to fall down into, it's a library over at Revolution Radio, the archives. Get in there. You can hear all sorts of great shows, not just mine. My show isn't anything special. It's a part of the radio station. But remember, free speech isn't free. People do a lot of things to support our ability to have free speech, and free speech should be good speech, smart speech, and honest, and clean, and all those things. If you're going to be about free speech and good content, it should be quality stuff. It's not about clickbait. It's not about click information. If you're all about the click, then you're probably not as honest as you need to be. No. Yeah, sometimes the fights are the best shows, man. Come on. Mm-hmm. Well, say that again because I might have heard it wrong. The first star he showed you was the North Pole or the North Star? Okay, you threw me there. You said the North Pole, and I was like, wait a second. Because you could have even made it more confusing when you said the North Polaris or something like that. No, and totally. What's that is so important, though. I mean, because just think, it's the only star that doesn't move. Technically, I mean, over eons it will move. Oh, well, actually, let me say this. Over eons, the Earth will move in relationship to the location of the North Star. And the North Star will one day no longer be our North Star. But currently, because it is our North Star, as the night moves by us, the North Star just rotates on itself, and all the other stars appear to orbit around the North Star. And that's why you have some of these long exposure photography of the sky and the North Star, and you see this pinpoint of light, and then all these arcing, stretching lights of as the stars have passed overhead, which is amazing to know and an amazing star to know. But eventually, through the precession of our equinoxes, etc., 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 and the tilt of Earth changing, the North Star will not forever be our North Star. I should know the next star. I don't know the name of it, but there will be a new one, and I don't know it. I don't know it. But okay, well, we have the expanse of the universe. To me, my understanding of the expanse of the universe is a loaf of bread shape, more than a siphon or an expanding triangle or what have you. So you have this loaf of bread shaped universe, and we're located in one part of it. Um, and so when you reach out farther into the loaf of bread, you're reaching out to parts of the universe that came out of the Big Bang faster and farther, which actually increases its amount of time that it was in the universe. Okay, so as we reach out further into the universe, that object that's out there further was in the universe longer than we were. Okay, because of that expansive time. And so what we're really dealing with are how do I live in the now here on Earth, and what is the now there in that object or planet many, many light years away. You know what I mean? That for me has always been the trigger. I'm living in a now right now, and I know that. So what is the now in this object that I'm seeing out in space, whether it be the Orion Belt or Sirius or any of the exoplanets, because exoplanets are actually so new that not very many people have a favorite exoplanet that they can name. I don't even have one. I don't know if you have one. I know there's a lot of exoplanets out there, but I don't know a name of one. But let's just look at here on Earth is now. What's the now on that exoplanet wherever? And what does that mean in time difference? Is that 150,000 light years in my future? Or is it 150,000 light years in my past because I reached back into the earlier parts of... Oh, it's confusing. You know, oh, we're really pink. We're really pink on the broadcast. We're really pink right now. Yeah. Are you looking live out the window? Yeah. I'm looking at our broadcast on Night Skies Network, and we're there. We're rosy, rosy. I know that we recorded a solar eclipse. I know that we recorded the transit of Venus. We recorded some other. Well, there's others, and yeah, and and I think that's the thing too. There is just stages, I think, in people's lives. And there's certain astronomers who are still amateur, but they've invested a lot of time and money in astronomy, and sometimes that takes them away from the free flow of information. See, I'm able to free flow my information because I'm not concentrated on the equipment right now, or I'm not focused on making sure everything as far as the broadcast is going right. I get to take the opportunity to talk about the things that are going on, and the broadcast occurs. So I'm very, very lucky. So what I wanted to say is, I can own. I mean, you have to give them their space, but sometimes it's hard to find the right person to deliver the news. You have to find that liaison, that middleman, the right guy who's connected in a way with the astronomers who are very busy with their technology, who sometimes don't have time to talk freely about what's going on, and then being the guy who can just pour it out and read articles or talk about whatever. And that'd be me. So Cosmic Obsession Kerrville, Bob has put so much work into this observatory now, and it's just so, you know, top of the tops. And so I want to make sure that when they do good things like this, that I'm trying to be available to the public so they can come and talk, and we can talk and learn because, people need people. People need people. So I'm looking at our eclipse. I see in our broadcast 90% pink and 10% a little bit overexposed because it's still very bright. That edge of the moon is still catching a lot of sunlight before it comes into the full umbra of Earth's shadow. So, but we have real nice clarity. I'm getting real nice color, real nice rose hue now to this moon. From the telescopes at Cosmic Obsession Kerrville. We're having a really great conversation with Jim on revolution.radio.com, nightskiesnetwork.com. You see here we have almost a dozen people working. We have 2-3 different websites involved. It's all happening for the event, and it's all happening for listeners. Fortunately, we're working the recordings of this event, so that if you missed it and you've made it this far, I thank you for coming, even though you missed it. We're here and brought it to you. I'm glad that or should I say, we're just lucky that the universe offered these 2 hours of time on revolution.radio. They had nothing going during these 2 hours, so I was able to snatch them up and come on. And then so lucky that connected with Jim earlier, and he's such a great talker and free talker, that a perfect person to have on this evening's show. He gets to look out his window and have a bird's eye view. I can go out. Oh, man. Oh, okay. Okay, this is what I need to do. I'm going to take off my headphones for 1 second, and I need to peek out my window because I need to see it for myself too. Was there anything interesting about blood moons that you had discovered through the articles that you read, or were they pretty straightforward with time and information, and they really didn't get any sketchy information off it? Did you read anything sketchy about these things? Hey, just a little tiny poke. Well, it's been fun. It's been fun sharing this. Oh, you mean the flat Earth? You can see a curve. Well, I did read through I did read earlier. I did read earlier as I was researching the eclipse. Who was it? I don't know if it was Galileo or not. I mean, he recorded a bunch of eclipses, and every time. Yesterday on my show, we were talking about scientific method, and theories, hypothesis, and scientific method. Okay, and one of the things was using eclipses to determine that the Earth was round because it repeatedly showed during an eclipse a rounded shadow. So I don't know which astronomer or scientist was doing that research back in the day, but the article said through scientific method, which meant repeated observations, he was able to determine that the Earth was a spherical due to the shadow cast on the moon during an eclipse. And this would be a perfect time to garnish that. So any flat earthers out there, just go look up and go find something else to read or something. I mean, you know, yeah, it's really right there. It's pretty, pretty, pretty. We got a really nice clear shot of it here. Really, really nice shot. Couldn't ask for anything more. It's gone. See, we have, and yeah, it's funny. It's funny is Jim is giving us the play by play, and the broadcasts are video delayed, so your play by play and video's got a little bit to wait before it gets there. Oh gosh. Yeah. Well, I do want to let you know that we only got the channel for another. It goes till 11 o'clock my time, so it's going to be 9 p.m. your time, and then we're going to bring this special Sunday show to a close. It's been a really quick 2 hours. We still have a little bit of time left, and we're still enjoying the clips, of course. But what a great night to do all this and to reconnect with Jim and have a very fluid show with with not very no sweat. This is a no sweat show. You would think it would be kind of sweat. You'd have to sweat it because you're trying to get through this big event. But this show actually was a no sweat show, and I'll let people know that in the upcoming episodes of Collision Course, we're getting back on track with getting new scientists to take the call for interviews. I've done. I think I've done 13 shows now. I started on October 6th, so every week, I don't know how many weeks that is. And in those 13 weeks, we've interviewed 6 scientists. And over the holidays, they started not taking so many requests because it was the holidays and stuff. And they just said, well, come back and after the new year and request again. So I have a whole series of people, scientists, which equates to space missions. If these I just don't go out and randomly call scientists. What I do, but first what I do is I find an interesting mission, an interesting space topic, and then I go out and find the people who are doing the science, and then we send out the emails and we try to get them online. I have some requests that I've already sent out in the past that I think I just have to coax them a little bit more. Believe it or not, there's scientists who don't like to do live radio. And I'm a guy who does live radio who's not quite sure what to do with people who don't want to do live radio, I really don't want to do a recorded show. I'd almost rather sneak a live show on them. And I almost did that one time. I almost said, well, no, it'd be all right. We would just get on Skype and just be having a normal conversation, I was going to be on there. But that didn't occur because that wouldn't actually be right. So I didn't actually do that. So I do have some great interviews that I want to do in the near future. I know that the schedule of like heavy lift rockets, we have heavy lifts that are going off. It'd be interesting, and I've been thinking about this recently, but I don't know how easy it is to be able to find an English-speaking Chinese scientist that has something to do with the dark side of the moon, you know? Wouldn't that be somebody cool to talk to? You know, and multiple, yeah, multiple platforms. You have the lander, and then you have a rover, and you have all sorts of technology up there, and very clear imagery, and yeah. hmm So so what I think I have is a segue through the European Space Agency to the Chinese Space Agency. I've got to try to reroute an email through one guy in the European Space Agency over to the Chinese guy to see if he will do an interview. That's what I'm trying to set up. Hopefully it will, because there's no sense talking to somebody who's not involved with the project. I can just talk to people who think about it. Well, maybe there's someone involved in the United States. I really don't think that the United States is much involved with Chinese technology and the Chinese space race for sure. So it would be interesting and it would be quite a coup to try to find an inside source of Chinese astronomy. And I'm going to do that in upcoming months on Collision Course, which is every Saturday night, 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Studio B, Revolution Radio, revolution.radio. I, yeah, 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 yeah. There he is. That's fine. He'll probably figure it out. Okay, I'm looking at our broadcast. That moon is pinkity pink, 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 pink. We are blood. No. Hello? Well, I wanna make sure that we understand why it's red now. Of course, is that Okay, well, that is exactly the reason, but we have to understand what exactly is happening with the atmosphere of the Earth. When the sun is on the far side of Earth and moon is in its shadow, only red light can reach around the edges of the perimeter of Earth to hit the moon. And it's the same as when the sun sets, the sky turns reds and pinks and etc. It is because of our blue sky that our moons are blood. The umbra. The yeah, the mhm. Yes. Copy. And they have lady would be correct that occurred. Let's put it this way: they've occurred since the beginning of time. Since Earth and the Moon have had the same shapes that they had today, there has been a blood moon eclipse at certain times during the year. Now, certain events have to line up. This is one, two, three separate events lining up to occur all at once, which means the moon is closest to the Earth, it is in full moon, and there is an eclipse occurring. There's three things occurring at once for this to happen. It has happened ever since the beginning of Earth and the moon. Now, go ahead. Roger. We have to start. We have to start scientifically at the first tool. You brought a tool into the statement, and you used a tool under a tree to measure a temperature of the moon. Let's do the first thing that has to happen is you have to look at the tool and say, what am I doing? This tool is doing nothing. That tool cannot measure the temperature of the moon. A cold light, cold light. Yes. Okay, let me say this. That's an interesting perspective on what's occurring. Um, Cold light, hot light. That's going to have to be a topic that we'll probably have to cover on another show, Gerr, to be honest, because I know that we only have so many minutes left. Because we'd have to really look at it in a couple of different ways, and you Well, let me say that I can put some skinny on that. Maybe not tonight because I'm not researched enough, and I don't want to really speak without knowing, because that would be unfair to you for me to say yes or no without knowing for sure. So I can do a little research, Gerr Bear, and I know we see each other in the chat room, so we can continue this conversation with me, and we can bring it up, and I'll definitely cover that because that's interesting, because I'm sure that it could devolve into a thing about something called cold fusion and hot fusion, and there may be something there, but I don't have any information on it. Eh, Well, I can tell you. Let me say something I do know from for that flat Earth topic, and Jim and I talked about this earlier. This yesterday I did a part of my show about scientific method, and one of the examples that they use in college textbooks is the observation of exactly what's occurring tonight, an eclipse. When the moon enters into the shadow of the Earth produces a curved shadow. Okay, and and it's been tracked and viewed over decades and decades of observations. If and because of that statement, I accept that the Earth is round because I can use past observations that people have had with their own eyes. Now, I know what you may be talking about. There are websites out there with 1,000 reasons why the Earth is flat. I do not have 1,000 minutes to visit 1,000 reasons why the Earth is flat. And I don't want to. It's not laughable. It's not laughable. It's true. I spoke with people about it. 1,000 reasons why the Earth is flat can get so confusing, and I can understand why you're confused. It's Yeah, but all your maps are flat. No, if your maps are flat, the Earth's flat. Don't you know that? I've seen it. I've seen that as well. I'm here in Texas, near Houston, near Galveston. You can go to the coast, and what they have out in the coast is where all the oil tankers are parked, and we're talking a lot of oil tankers, and they're parked in such a way so they're scattered about on the horizon, and without binoculars, without anything, I can look out at the horizon and see the whole side of a ship, and then a half side of a ship, and then just the top of the ship, and then I can't see any ship. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, but we accept the reality that the Earth is round. Okay, we have to accept that some people don't believe the reality that we accept, so they want us to tell them 1,000 reasons why they're wrong. Well, no, it is. We have to. We. Mhm. Oh, you know what's really bad about this? It's a great topic, and I know the only problem is we have literally 3 minutes left till Nitehawk is going to come in our ears, and so this is what I'm going to do for both gentlemen. Next week during Collision Course, 6 to 8 p.m. If you're available, come on Skype. Let's research this a little bit further. If you really want me to get into flat Earth, if you want me to get into the 1,000 points of light in flat Earth, I will do it. I will do it for you, Gerr. I will do it for you and nobody else. I would not do it. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh no, I share live. I bring the bombs. We bomb it. We will carpet bomb flat Earth until it's no longer, like George Patton drove some tanks over it. We will make a round Earth flat. How about that? That's how much information we're going to bring. We're going to turn our circular surface of Earth flat just with the sheer weight of knowledge. Flat Earth. Come on. But we have a beautiful eclipse, and I want to tell everyone the total when the moon is in total eclipse, it will be 11, 12, 16 in Cypress, Texas, where I am, or it will be 12, 12, 16 in New York City, or it will be 9, 12, 16 in California. This show is going to be over in the next minute or so. We're going to hear the ding dong of Revolution Radio. Remember, those who are listening, free speech isn't free. It may not play. Well, I have to. With I am too. Yes. Right. Well, right. Wait a second. Wait a second. I have to stop you there. Say that again. Okay, stop. We just talked about free speech and how free speech isn't free. Bring up whatever you want. Just don't bring up anything nasty. Well, that's good. I'm glad. I'm glad because I'm not going to have a comment. I don't have a comment. I'm a comment. I'm a comment. Gerr Bear's over here getting me onto flat, flat flatties. He's gonna get me. He's gonna get me hollering at somebody. Yeah, we're gonna have ratings. We're gonna go through the roof. We're gonna go through the roof. Car shows. We're gonna have a car show. We're gonna have a car show from. I used to produce those. I used to produce it. Those are. I mean, that's a. If you have a product to sell that's car related, the best thing that you could ever do is start producing car shows. Made a mint. Just people love car shows. People love their cars. Well, that's our family, my wife's family of 25 years. My wife's mother, Debbie, is the 29th woman to ever win a national NHRA event in her class. That's the top. Uh, uh, uh. Break. Everybody pause. Yeah. Let's do this. I'm not going to go any longer, Gerr Bear. I'm going to save our next discussion for next Saturday night. If you're kicking around, even if it's for a short amount of time, I know I'm cutting over the break, folks. Thanks for listening to the special Sunday night Eclipse show, Jim, Gerr Bear. Until we meet again, this is Francis. Over and out. Yeah, well, Gerber, you're on this call, so you can see that you're on this call, and you'll be able to have access back to this in my contact. No problem. I'm going to be cutting out of the station right now. Hey, fine. I am going to wrap it up for this evening because I have a full workday tomorrow. It's been super, super fun having our conversation and doing that show. I think. Do you have fun? Right. I know the feeling. And and then I have to learn more pausing too. And normally recently my shows recently I just talk and talk and talk. Unless I have the interviewee, and then we do a half an hour interviewee where I let the interviewee pretty much do a lot of talking. But right, I understand that. I understand that concept. I have that with my wife, and that's not a joke. That's real. It's like it's a, okay. Say, bud, I'm gonna right. I'm going to keep the broadcast of the moon up, but I'm going to turn off my mic. I'm going to getting a little bit tired, and I'll talk to you soon, if not toward the end of the week. I'll help you remember. I'll help you remember. I'll pop in and say hello. Okay. Okay, buddy. Thank you very, very much. Good night. Hey guys, I'm back. Oh, we just had a fun show. We just had a real fun show about the eclipse over on Revolution Radio. Loving the broadcast. What a great broadcast. This eclipse, your shot of the eclipse is just superb, Joe, everyone. I just went outside and looked at it with my own eyes. It's quite a sight to see. Looks very much looks a lot smaller when you're outside. Yeah, yeah, but you can't beat this shot right here. I mean, this shot that you're showing right here. That's it. That's. Whew. I'm recording. I've got a 2 hours and 12 minutes. Uh, Now, the image that I got is not as big as the one that I'm looking at on the broadcast on my other computer. It had to be a little bit of a smaller screen because I was working Skype as well, but it'll be the complete. It'll be as much complete as I can get it. Yeah, exactly. I didn't even think of that. Exactly. They're gonna. Yeah, it'll be bigger when it opens up. So I did catch. I caught the last. 2 hours and 2 hours and 12 minutes, and it was fun. It was fun having the show too. I just happened to look. The radio station didn't have any shows on during those 2 hours, so it was perfect time to just jump on and have a conversation. I had someone on who we had talked a while back about stuff, and just had a great show, and been watching on Night Skies Network too as people been coming in, going out. Have a lot of people come to the site, Joe? Have you been watching your traffic? Yeah, yeah, that's great. That's great to get as much exposure. It takes these big events to gather people, and even new people, people that have never been to the site before. Sometimes it takes a big event like this because more people are talking about it, and they get to spread that link around and more people use it. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. And so, I mean, that's my whole goal is to try to enjoy what's going on out in space, and then we're blessed by having these events, and blessed by having people like Bob and Joe and Chris and everybody else who know exactly how to use this equipment. Um, are you happy that you're not going to have to do a lot of work in Photoshop? Right? This is this is this is a Photoshop free session for you, I think, right? So you've been taking a bunch of still images as you've been going. You're going to string them together and make a show. Yeah. Did Debbie go to bed? All right. Well, I'm going to probably be doing the same. I'm going to leave my recording up for as long as I can, because of course I have to go to work tomorrow. But I wanted to say thank you to everyone who's on the broadcast right now, and thank you to you, Bob. Thank you. Good night, all.